Hi everybody. So thanks for that introduction, Denise. We're going to be talking today about exploring the Verisk Land and property data on the Digimap service. I'm Jeremy Thomas, business development consultant at Verisk.
Hello everyone. Yes, I'm Tom Timms, the sales director here at Verisk Land and Buildings Data. What are we going to be talking to you about for the next 20 minutes or so? Well, I'll give you a very brief introduction to Verisk, and then obviously talk in more detail about the Verisk products that are available on Digimap. We'll talk through some of the use cases, so how the data is used by some of our customers, and end up obviously with some reasons why you might want to use our data on Digimap. And as we've said, Denise will then give a demonstration of the data on the portal, and we're happy to answer questions as well. So to start off, who are Verisk? Well, we're a leading global insurance service provider. So we're not actually an insurance company, but we provide services to the insurance industry. This is, for example, just general insurance, so helping insurers understand risk. So underwriting, that's generally underwriting, understanding the risk associated with insuring something, but also claims, so managing claims if you have an accident or whatever. In the UK, it's quite possible you'll be using Verisk services to support that claim. We also work, the UK, if you're not aware, the UK and Lloyd's in London is a real insurance hub. So we work with reinsurers as well and specialty markets in London. What you see on the screen there, that is a picture of a hurricane, and our offerings can tell insurers, for example, the likelihood of a hurricane hitting Miami or somewhere, anywhere around the world, but then also not just tell them likelihood of it happening, but actually tell them the likely cost of that on their property, the property they insure, so that we can tell them how expensive it's going to be if there is a hurricane. We also do things like in life, health and travel space. So if you take out travel insurance in the UK and you have some medical conditions, some pre-existing medical conditions, it's quite likely you will have used Verisk services in that journey in buying your insurance. But we do a lot beyond insurance as well. So there's an interesting group within Verisk called Maplecroft, and they work at a kind of global scale, looking at sustainability and resilience. So they can tell you the likelihood of civil strife in different countries in the world, or the economic state of different areas in the world. But then at the other end of the scale is us, and our team. We work at a very detailed level on land and buildings data here in Britain and the UK. So who do we work with? Just a few of our customers here on the screen, but as you'd expect, some insurers, so people like Aviva and Direct Line, a number of government organisations, either via Ordnance Survey. So we work closely with Ordnance Survey, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Scottish Government, London authorities, so GLA and Transport for London, utilities, property companies, and we'll talk about some specialist people in the sustainability and energy fields as well during the presentation later.
So thanks for that, Tom. What products, what Verisk products can you find now on the Verisk collection on Digimap? So first up is UK Buildings product. It's a national property database, and it covers Great Britain, England, Scotland, and Wales. Basically, if you want to know something about the character of a building, if it's be it residential or commercial, this is your best starting point. We've now got 49 property attributes available in the data. This image on the right here there's no coastline or background mapping on that image. That is just the UK building. So you can see it gives you a good impression of how buildings hug our coastlines and where the different densities of buildings are to be found. So The attributes within a property data, I'm just going to list them here. So we've got age and historic data. So where we know the age of a property and the year built of a property, that's included, but we have age bands for all the others. Dimensions, we've got premise area and the gross area, height of the building, and more esoteric dimensions like distance from water, if you're looking at flooding. We've got structural information. So is the roof made of slate? Is it made of tile? Is the wall concrete? Is it brick? We've got glazing information. Oh, sorry. Tom. Got excited. Yeah, finally, we've got the use and type. So the premise use, so that could be a commercial for residential, or we've got lots of non-residential premise uses. So is it an educational establishment? Is it a religious building? And premise type, is it detached, semi-detached, terraced, etc. We have site information from Her Majesty's Land Registry. So that has a land registry site ID, and also it picks up how many buildings might be on a site. So if you think about a university campus, for example, that might have multiple, maybe 15, 16 buildings within the property boundary. We've got things like room counts, like bedrooms and bathrooms and room counts, reception room counts, which is pretty unique to the Verisk data. You don't find that anywhere else. But we've also, to make it more usable and more useful in the net zero world, and when you're looking at sustainability, we've also incorporated energy performance certificate data already attached in. So you've got EPC rating, and we've got things like main heating type. Is it LPG? Is it gas or mains gas? We've got standard identifiers. So if you need to join this data to some other data set, you might want to do that via UPRN, which is the unique property reference number that's being more widely used these days. Lots of data sets are available against UPRN, and then you can join in these attributes into those very easily. And also you can connect to other Ordnance Survey data via the TOID identifier. And for ease of use in GIS systems, digital mapping systems, we've got simplified age, floors, use attributes to make it a lot easier to display this stuff thematically on a map.
So how do we capture this data? So this is our own data set. It's uniquely ours, and we capture this. The company that originally generated it started off selling aerial photography, and then we moved into deriving data from aerial photography. And the core of UK buildings comes from a manual classification of aerial imagery, which took many, many years, but we completed all urban areas in Britain by 2019. And the people who did this, they spent a lot of time learning about buildings and looking at aerial photography. But if you look at aerial photography, you can start to see patterns in buildings. So what they used to do was draw a polygon on a map around an area and say all the buildings inside that area have these characteristics. So they could be 1960s semi-detached, or it could be this is a street of Victorian terraces, which means small Victorian terraces, which means they're two-story, they're two up, two down, with these characteristics. So in residential areas, suburban areas, you could classify lots of buildings quite quickly. So there'd be quite big areas of very similar housing, but obviously in town centres, it's much more complicated, and they'd be working almost at an individual building level. So that was the source of the core data set, and that's unique. No one would do that now, and you'd be mad to, but we did. But since about 2020, we've been adding other sources, so data from Land Registry, as Jeremy mentioned, energy performance certificates, planning applications, historic mapping, a whole range of data to derive and extract information about the buildings. So interestingly, for property age, for example, we have documentary evidence, so either what we observed or planning applications or wherever, for about 90% of addressed buildings, and we only had to model, so fill the gaps for about 10%. Now, Verisk is an analytics provider. We do a lot of work with analytics, and increasingly we're using analytics and machine learning and techniques to derive more data for UK buildings. So the 10% gap I mentioned in ages, we filled with analytics, using analytics to build. We do a lot of work with analytics, and increasingly we're using analytics and machine learning and techniques to derive more data for UK buildings. So the 10% gap I mentioned in ages, we filled with analytics, using analytics to build rules about what the values might be. And similarly for things like basements, we've been we can observe some, we can find some from documentary evidence, but we need to use analytics to complete the whole data set. So I mentioned we work with Ordnance Survey, and actually we provide 3 key attributes to the new Ordnance Survey NGD buildings dataset. So 3 of the attributes, if you look at the NGD dataset, it actually says the source of the data is Verisk. So we provide building ages, basement presence, and wall type attributes to Ordnance Survey in their NGD data. Obviously, you can use NGD. It's available on Digimap, but I would suggest there's a few advantages of using UK buildings. We have quite a few attributes that aren't available in NGD. For example, the room counts. So if you're interested in the internal characteristics of the building, we have more information about that. And as Jeremy mentioned earlier, we've linked the energy performance information. So if you're using the data to work on energy related or sustainability related projects, then I would suggest UKB buildings is a good starting point.
Okay,
Jeremy, now for UK land.
Thanks. So another one of the other various products that you can find in the Verisk collection on the Digimap service is UK Land, and this is it's a land cover. Sorry, exactly wrong. It's a land use database, and it's very important to make that distinction, because identifying land use is a lot more difficult than identifying land cover. So it's got UK coverage, so it includes Northern Ireland. And we've got 27 classes. So some of the classes you can see here, we've got, is it agriculture? Is it woodland? Is it water? We've identified urban and suburban classes in there as well, industrial and commercial. And it's the kind of thing that you might use if you wanted to make a comparison between what's the agricultural land cover, land use in Kent compared to Hampshire, for example, if you want to take look at large scale projects like that. So you might use it for site search or assessment. It's used in utility network rollouts as well, so people are using it to plan the routes of transmission cables, and it's used in regional planning and comparisons as well.
Okay, and the last product on Digimap is called UK Map, although it's not named very well because it's actually a database of London, Greater London, and we do need to point out that UK Map hasn't been maintained for a number of years now, so it's a kind of legacy product, but it's an incredibly detailed data set of topography, land use and land cover, and retail and the points of interest. So a really detailed data set of Greater London out to the M25, and it's been used for a whole range of uses, planning and site assessment, transport planning, incident response. So during COVID, we helped Transport for London and the Greater London Authority look at pavement widths when we were supposed to be so far away from different people. And in riots many years ago, it was used by the police to identify buildings at risk or shops at risk of being attacked. If they had flats above them, if there were people living above shops, they were worried about arson attacks on shops. So it's a really detailed data set, perhaps useful if you wanted to compare current London to a period a while ago. But yeah, it's a very detailed data set, but now no longer maintained. Okay, so how is Verisk data being used? So we've got these data sets. Let's talk about some of the use cases. So the property data, UK buildings, we've talked about insurance. So it's widely used in underwriting. So for insurers to understand the risk of various things happening at your house or for a property. We'll talk a bit more detail in a minute about supporting energy demand modelling. So I think the Scottish Government used it, and other organisations have used it to predict future energy use, because heating buildings is one of the primary uses of energy in Britain in our climate. So understanding the characteristics of the building are very important. Similarly, for if you're looking at retrofit, so where to put solar panels or heat pumps and things like that, and also for looking at catastrophic risk or things like flooding. So if a building has a basement or not is important if you're looking at flooding. The products used by telecoms companies to model the wireless network, the phone network you're going to get. So buildings get in the way of phone signals. So if you put up a phone mast, you need to understand the characteristics of the buildings around it. And government will use our data that's in NGD, looking at healthy buildings or health, because welfare is dependent a lot on housing, and the condition of houses is important. So that there are lots of use cases in government for emergency services and health for the type of property data we create.
So looking at a very specific use case, Tom mentioned earlier, this looking at future energy demand modelling. So advanced infrastructure in technology, they used our UK buildings data to drive the algorithms in their LEAP software. When I say LEAP, that's local area energy plans. So local authorities have a responsibility to work in conjunction with what's called DNOs, which is direct network operators. People like UK Power Networks or Scottish and Southern Electricity, they have to work in concert with the local authority to create future energy demand plans. So is there a new build estate going up somewhere? When's it going to be coming online? Is there energy infrastructure to support that? As you can see on the image here, we've got the algorithm, they're working out domestic heat demand, and you can see that they're using premise area and the building height to identify within the algorithm to identify what the annual heat demand is going to be for that particular property. So they couple up the property data with the electricity infrastructure, how much cable is going out to those areas, and what cable needs to go out to those areas to model consumption both now and in the future. And it's particularly useful. Sorry, Tom. Particularly useful for looking at the increased demand that is happening from electric vehicle charging. Go on, next one. And so a specific use case for UK land is for identifying land use characteristics around a target site. Now, in this instance, Forest Research, in conjunction with DEFRA, wanted to look at quantifying the types of land that were around ancient woodland sites. So you can see some ancient woodland sites here on the right around Ashford in Kent, and they wanted to identify, well, what's the land usage around those sites, so we can see whether any of those sites are at risk from encroachment. And this particular one, you can see on the histogram there that agriculture, mainly crops, is the main site, but you do get some ancient woodland sites that are might be close to suburban or low or medium density housing, and they're at more risk from encroachment going forward.
Another example of use of UK land. So we said a site assessment. So one of our customers did an assessment of land around Heathrow and other airports as well. And one of the interesting findings from the using UK land within a buffer around Heathrow, what you can see on the screen there, is actually there's a significant proportion, more than I think 10 to 15% of the land cover and land use around Heathrow is actually open water because there are reservoirs and rivers and things. So if you're planning a response to an incident around an airport, you probably need to think about water, even though you don't really think of Heathrow as a surrounded by water, but in fact it is. Okay. I missed one there. Sorry. The mouse is a bit clicky today. So finally, very quickly, use of UK map. So Transport for London used it in a very interesting study to assess every single street in London based on whether it was how much of a transport link it was, or how important it was as a place or a destination. And they did a very interesting classification matrix of all the streets in London to help them plan future use of roads and things like that. I think we should sum up though, because
I'll whiz through the next slide, Tom. Yeah. So why would you use the Verisk data? It's very, very easy to use. We've done a lot of the hard work to make sure the data is analysis ready. We've got integration keys in there like UPRNs and TOIDs to help you join it to other data sets. It's the data is complete, consistent, and available in England, Scotland, and Wales, and Northern Ireland for UK land. And as you've seen, the world's leading organisations are using the data to inform major business decisions and work on projects. So why shouldn't you?
Great. So back to Denise. Are you there?
Yes. Thank you very much, Jeremy and Tom, for the brilliant presentation. I'm going to show you how you can find the Verisk data in Digimap. Let me just share my screen. When you open Digimap, you will see all your collections above on the top banner, and all the collections that you have applied for, they will appear here. So let's go to Verisk. And when we click on Verisk, you will find that you have two tabs on the right, and you have the information, the general information in the bottom. So you have about Verisk and how to get started with Verisk and some FAQs. So here you have the Verisk Digimap, where you'll find the mapping service and the navigation, and the web services. So the web services will offer a link here. So if you copy and paste this link in another collection, you will be able to add Verisk to other collections on Digimap and work with two collections at the same time. For example, if you want to add some elements of the aerial view into your Verisk, you can do that. You can add to other collections as well. If you can add to the historic collection, for example. Going back to Verisk, let's check what the Verisk Digimap is offering us. So you will, when you click that, you will see the map, the UK map in front of you, and the top panel and the left side menu. And in the same area you have your map, you have base maps. If you click on the base maps, you'll see that at the moment I have UK land, and it will change. There will be more base maps offered as you zoom in. I have two now, and if I go to London area, I will have even more. As I zoom in, there will appear more base maps. Okay, so I can see the UK building age and the UK building use at the moment. And I have one more here, that is the aerial collection for London and the UK map for London. We are in the UK building now. And if you want more details of what you are seeing on the screen, you click on map content and you will see the UK buildings by age, you will see the ages of the building color-coded, and you can decipher the colors, what they mean. For example, I know that this building here is post 1999. And if I go to UK building by use, my legend will change and all the colors will tell me what buildings are used for. And the UK map, as Jeremy and Tom mentioned, it's only for London at the moment. From here, you have a selection of items you can tick. So you can see the surface, road, railway. You can see the building and the structures, the landscape, and the water areas as well. And you can do your analysis from there. So as I said, if you zoom out, you will see a little more, a little less. So try when you open your map to zoom in and out and see what you get, and the data will appear. Then you have also the aerial view, which you can use on your map. The aerial view does not come with the legend. And that is where, for example, if you use another collection and you can transfer that collection using the same web application that you use to transfer Verisk data elsewhere, you can also bring other data to Verisk. And you can use the two app to compare as well. So here I have the aerial and the view, and I can compare building by use and building by age. So you can see that I'm hovering my mouse on the left side, but there is a little cross appearing where I'm hovering on the right side. So you always know where you are and where you are located. So you can zoom in as much as you want and compare the age and the usage of the building that you see here as well. So I will remove this function for now, and I can also get information about my map. So if I click here and I click on the map, it will give me the building age, building area, height, and all the information from Verisk that you want to find in the map, including the premise area and so on. And every time I click somewhere, it will show me. If my computer is not too slow and allows me. There you go.
It's worth scrolling down there, Denise, just to show the additional attributes that we've got. If you just scroll down that list of attributes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's quite a long list of attributes, which is brilliant. Is there any attribute in particular you would like to mention, Jeremy?
No, I just wanted to show that because they used to be only we only used to release I think 5 attributes, but now all 49 are available.
So yeah, you have quite extensive list of attributes, and you can show all of them for your building just by clicking on the information icon here and then clicking where you want to see the attributes in your map. And I will now just close the base map for a minute. I can see the map content. So this will give me a rough idea of what I am in my map. So I have a wider view of the map here and the location that I can see on the screen so that you know exactly where you are on a bigger map. And you can use overlays. So you can have the UK map, tree canopy for London. That is only for London. And let me zoom in a little more so you can see the little trees here. So that those are the tree canopies for London. And you can also have the upper floors. It is also only available for London. I will zoom out a little so you can see this one better. Let me change the view for something. There you go. You see the buildings that are you are seeing the upper floor. They will highlight in the map, and you can use them as well. So if I'm zooming in a lot, I might miss it. So it's better if you zoom out a little before you click on that. And you can also make annotations on your map. So I can, for example, use a marker to mark specific buildings that I want to make notes. I can customize my markers so that I have a legend of sorts, and I can create a symbol for each element I want to see or each type of element I want to see. I can also customize the colors, so you can have just the pointers, but in different colors, and will help you to customize and to annotate your map as well. And you can select items, you can delete items, you can create polygons. I will just create some random polygon here. So let's say you can go around the building and create a polygon. There are different types of polygons which you can use. And there is also the buffer tool. So let's say I want to analyze the flooding area for the river Thames, for example. So let me put something like 150 meters. I have two options. I can have the point buffer, which will give me a circle with my point in the center and will measure the area. And I can have a line buffer. That is the one I want for a river. And as I click, drag, and so on. So I can measure, for example, the probability of flooding in a river if I know how much the river overflows if in a rainy day. So after doing all my drawings, of course, I can also customize the colors, the line, if it's a solid line, the thickness of my line. You can play around and make it pretty as much as you want and make it valuable for your data. After doing all that, you can also go ahead and save your map. If you save your map, it will appear here on the side panel and you'll have it forever. For example, I will open this one. It will ask me if I want to replace my drawings or to merge the drawings. I'm sure the area is not the same, so I'm going to just replace. And then it will open a work that I had saved before. So going back, I can go to my map over again. Give me a second. I just to leave that for a while and go back to London. I like to do the demonstration in London because London has the UK map for London and some more elements to it as well. But the rest of the UK are well covered by Verisk, and I will show you in a minute when we get to the downloads. I can measure distance from one place to another. So I click, drag my line, click again, and then I have a distance. When I forgot to show, when I'm in the drawing tools, every polygon or every buffer tool or every line that I make, I can go click on them, select them, and then I can measure them as well. And I can add my own images. So if I click on the camera, it will ask me to upload an image. So I click on the map where I want to upload, and I would choose an image that I have saved in my map, and I can upload that image here. It will appear on my map, and I can save with that as well. I can have information about the map. You can see it is moving as I move my cursor, but if I want to capture the information of a specific area, for example, the center here of Kensington Gardens, what I can do is I click on this little dot here, and when I click, I move around, it is locked. So wherever I click, I will capture the information, and I can save that information, and I can use that information on a CSV file, for example. Now the last bit I want to show you is the download. Let me zoom out a little so I can show that to you. For downloading, I can draw a polygon, the polygon I want, or I can draw a rectangle, or I can use a buffer tool, or I can modify whichever drawing I decide to make. I can delete them. I can use coordinates and select the visible area, use tile names if I'm using the reference grid, or import a polygon from elsewhere, or copy drawings from for download for the download selection. So for this demonstration, I'm just going to click here on the rectangle, click, go away with my mouse, don't need to click, and then click once more. So I only click at the beginning and at the end, and I now have an area that I can download. So I will go here, I have 2 products, so I can either browse my products, or I can search if I know the specific name of my product. And let's say UK Land, and I have UK Land here. And I can just delete this now and go to browse. So when I'm browsing, I can choose the product that I want to download. You can see the number here is red. That means that for aerial imagery, I cannot download this much. There is a limit, and my limit is 100 tiles. I have at the moment 136 tiles. So some limits are in kilometers, some don't have any limit, and some will have limits in limit in tiles. Let's go to UK Land, and I will click on these little squares here. If they turn pink, that means that that area is available for download. Let's say I want to download UK Land. If I want more information, I click on the little arrow, and the product information is here, the scale, the current version, and even the data allowance that I can download. So I will add to the basket, and here I can choose the version, if it is the newest version from April 24 or one of the older versions. I can choose the format if I want GeoPackage or file geodatabase, and then I can request download. So that's how you can download your data. And I think that is it for me. And that is what I wanted to show you at the moment. If you have any questions on the functionality and how to play around with your Digimap, you can attend one of our Getting Started with Digimap webinars, in which I will go through all the tools available for the general collections and how you can use and go around each one of them. But now I will stop sharing and open the floor for questions. Thank you very much.